We're live. Welcome everybody.
Hello and welcome to our lovely home. Have a wee seat. We can stick the kettle on and you can sit and listen
Got a
to
wee
us
cuppa?
chat. This is the Steve and Karla show, where we talk about random stuff that we often talk about every other day. Random shenanigans.
Random shenanigans on Steve and Karla show.
Today we're talking about whether aliens exist, whether we think aliens exist, and whether we are aliens. What do you think?
I do think aliens exist. What are you laughing?
Whether you think we are aliens is the most important question.
We might be. Well, we are aliens to somebody else out there, right?
If other aliens
Right,
exist.
So if there is other life that exists somewhere on another planet, then technically we are aliens to those things that live somewhere else. So technically, yes, we are aliens, because alien is someone that just lives on a planet, I guess.
Yeah.
So the question then is, does life on another planet also exist?
Mm-hmm.
Which we don't know. We haven't found any, but
Not personally.
Not personally.
I've looked under the couch, I've looked in the car. Definitely.
If you have found aliens on your own home planet, you need to look outside of Earth.
Yeah.
No, but I think, well, we obviously don't have any proof or anything like that, but I think there is a large chance that there is life out there.
Seems like it, considering how big the universe is and we haven't seen it all yet.
No, we haven't, and it's impossible for us to see it because we don't have the technologies to actually discover that. And I can't remember exactly what the number is, but there's quite a few planets that are just like Earth. The kind of things that Earth needs, that they seem to be quite similar. So there's possibly life on those planets, Earth-like ones.
But they're too far away for us to.
But they're too far away, for us to actually
look at.
discover.
It's just all theory.
Yeah, well,
point.
exactly. So if we can't even discover those ones, then we can't really necessarily say that life on those things, well, planets, doesn't really exist. But not even that. There could be some life that we haven't. Well, we obviously don't know of its existence. Like, it could live on other planets in completely different forms that we haven't discovered them yet. So that's also a possibility. So I do firmly believe in aliens. Not those like ones that you get on television, where it's like these woo-woo type of things. Not that kind of alien.
Green people and grey people.
Yeah, no. So not that. Not in that sort of sense. If you were to like, oh well, she's weird. She believes in that kind of woo-woo type of thing. But I do believe there's life out there.
Although you have to kind of wonder where those came from in the beginning.
Well, that's true. That opens a whole other question.
You have to wonder how all these people have the same sort of similar sightings of UFOs and whether any of that is true. You know, because they're all quite similar, but then they all could just be coming off the same story. Maybe they're all crazy.
What was that whole story where apparently Mars at some point hit Earth and we could be partly Martians?
Or like an asteroid hit Mars at one point.
Yeah.
And then landed on Earth and could have created life on here.
That's quite interesting. So see, when you look at this whole I don't want to get into it, but this whole Pangea idea that we've discovered, that's a whole other topic for a whole other day, which we'll definitely cover because it's quite interesting. But in terms of how the Earth might have looked back in the day, this is kind of where Mars maybe is right now. So Mars might be like just kind of like almost like expanding and growing into like a full-sized planet type of thing, obviously over the like billions and billions of years. So maybe they're kind of like starting that whole cycle that Earth has already started like all these years ago. There's just so many possibilities. It's quite interesting.
Because we're only just about to start living on Mars in a handful of years. So.
But not us, it's robots really. And
well, Us pretty soon.
Did we land on Mars yet?
Robots.
No, but like as a human, no, we haven't.
No.
No, because that would be like
Not yet.
everywhere,
But
obviously.
soon.
Yeah.
Mr. Musk wants to fly there.
Yeah, he's got to go on.
Send off some people
Yeah.
to live there permanently.
That would be quite interesting.
Yeah.
And that kind of opens up a whole other idea of
Space
how
travel.
space travel and how we kind of trash the space as well.
He's already launched a car into space, so
It's just floating
Or-
about. Well, that's an alien in space now.
yeah, the wee guy in the car. And there's
So, question.
satellites.
So, whoever's landing on Mars, right? Would then that person be an alien to us on the planet?
Kind of. I mean, well, it's a good question. Would a person born on Mars be an alien then? Not really, because it's not like an alien species, right?
Yeah. So what describes describes an alien? Is it somebody that was born on that specific planet, or somebody that's like a whole different compound of ingredients or
Yeah.
chemicals, if you will?
It would have to be like a species that we don't understand yet and we don't know of. That's
I'd love to meet
very likely born somewhere entirely different from
I'd
us.
love to meet someone like that.
Because I mean, there's millions of species on this planet that we just don't understand yet or know of. But
Are we
it's-
searching for other species?
Yeah.
And I think because the universe is so big, I don't think necessarily we'll be able to find anything out there because we don't have the correct tools, I guess. Because the planet's so big, so I think if we were to ever find aliens, it would be them finding us if they're way more advanced than we are. But that's all to say, don't keep trying, because obviously our technology keeps evolving.
I mean, we sent out that golden disc with some writing on it for a alien to pick up. We shot that into space.
Yeah, whereabouts is that? Do you know?
No, I don't know. But they're
I
constantly...
mean, I don't think they would necessarily know what that is. We can't even read our own hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So how an alien supposed to know our little drawings?
Yeah. And we're constantly sending out radio signals and stuff, but no response.
But again, they might communicate in a whole different sense of
Yeah.
signals or whatever different things exist that we might not even have discovered yet.
Either the universe is just too big, or maybe they're just not... Maybe there's life, but it's just not advanced enough to understand
And
the
that
signals.
also, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
or
definitely.
they're too advanced.
Because it could be, so...
They just don't have that technology around anymore.
Exactly, there's
Yeah.
so many different scenarios that it could have went. So it could be life out there that is literally your plankton or whatever type of thing, life. Or they could be life that's super advanced. They have all these spaceships and everything going. Maybe they've got interplanetary cities type of thing going on that as if we were had life on Mars and we were just kind of trading things and stuff. Maybe they've got that sort of thing going on. What's that wee cartoon from back in the day?
Futurama?
No. You're your Futurama. No, the wee family that were pure...
Jetsons?
Jetsons, that was a good...
Similar?
Definitely not. Just where my mind went.
Futurama? Space delivery? They had a theme park on the moon.
Did they? I didn't really watch much of Futurama.
Yeah, that was cool. But it kind of got turned into a derelict place shortly after.
Rick and Morty? That's universes and different planets and stuff. I really love that concept because that is not necessarily all these aliens with 5 billion eyes and all that exist, but that sort of idea that we could have all these different lives going on in all these different places and you just teleport right in. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Teleporting into those places.
Yeah. We were talking before about quantum entanglement, and that seems like the way that teleportation is going to go. How they've got two... I'll probably get this very wrong, but two quantum atoms at two different locations that flip values. You know.
I mean, I don't know much about it to like would agree or disagree, but it's obviously not at this stage where we can.
Yeah. Apparently it takes a lot of power, and it's just like one atom at a time. So to get that to the next stage of teleporting people across, that's something entirely different.
But it's quite interesting how smart humans are to even come up with those ideas and just kind of give it a shot and try and figure out how to even do that. Like that's like beyond my knowledge or anything. For sure,
I'd love to be a fly in the wall in those labs, although a lot of it might go over my head.
You're like say like
this seems really smart, but then he's got these two atoms, and apparently they are bound together, but
yeah, I wouldn't know.
It's just all maths on a screen. Yeah, I know. Some smart people working on these things. Maybe they're just making it up, and the daft people are just like, oh, that sounds cool, that makes sense.
That sounds smart, yeah. Well, you never know, but not to like bash scientists or anything, because I do believe in a lot of the work that scientists do.
Aye, it got us a lot of where we are today.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, I think science is amazing, and I don't understand why people are like have maybe formed opinions but haven't maybe looked into science too much, and then they would argue with you quite a bit when you're like, well, studies have been done over many years or over like specific many subjects and that sort of thing, where it shows you exactly what the sort of answer to specific things is, and people are just not willing to look into it, which I don't really understand. It's knowledge that's out there for everyone to see. A lot of these studies they can be very detailed and thorough, and but that's quite hard for a normal person to digest, and like it's just impossible. Like a lot of the time you can read like excerpts of studies and it gives you a lot of the overview, but it's trying to convey all of that information through something that's easy to digest for everybody is But then you also do have people that are into that kind of scientific world, I guess, that are not necessarily scientists, that do read all those different studies and then give you like a kind of like a digestible amount and using kind of everyday words to tell you exactly what those studies mean. So I think it's mostly like, rather than people using excuses like, oh, it's quite hard for me to understand these studies, to actually look into it and find people that do translate those studies into everyday language, and I kind of take advantage of that, I would say, rather than not look into it and then form an argument and, you know, just goes over your head type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. So with aliens,
I know, see, humans, we can easily go on a tangent, can't we?
Humans, as far as I understand it, humans started off from like high pressures under the sea that created the first sort of bit of life. So to go from that state, that's how we understand life comes around. So to get from that point on in any other circumstance that's why we've been looking at planets that are similar to Earth, because they might have the same sort of
like compounds
circumstance for creating
like
life,
water and whatnot.
But it could be something entirely different.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. So there's a planet that, like, rather than having water, they've got like liquid something else that we obviously couldn't create life with. But I think maybe with that, there could be life there that actually like feeds off that specific thing. So they don't necessarily might need water. They might need something else. But we don't know that yet, obviously. So I think it's necessary. We don't need to like disregard the planets or whatever that have different compounds and not necessarily like water, because things could live in there, just feeding off different things.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
Like fire monsters and that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe not that exactly, but
I just don't know the limits of what life would look like.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe...
Oh, I'd love to, like, see some, like...
Yeah.
Because even things on this planet that you sometimes see a photo of and you're like, whoa, what is that? Like, there's billions of, like, different species on this planet that we've never seen, that we don't know what they are. And sometimes you even see, like, an actual, like, normal, like, dog-looking, like, animal type of thing, and you're like, I've never seen that before, what is that? Like, I don't mean, like, a dog, I mean, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you see, like, a raccoon, I've never seen a raccoon before, and I was like, what is that? Do you know what I mean? Like, well, obviously that's, like, not as mad, but, like, there's loads of different species that we don't even know on this planet.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of different animals, like, especially, like, Australia. You just get so many different varieties of species of animal.
Yeah.
Because they're so isolated from, like, the mainland.
Exactly.
Yeah, they get tons of different animals over there.
Which is also quite interesting how when we started moving from between, like, continents, we have kind of taken some animals and maybe some insects and stuff like that, and then put them over to the other continents, and that kind of started messing up with, like, ecocycles and things like that. Like, it's quite quite interesting.
Sometimes animals are taken over for sport and just for shooting. Like, sometimes rabbits get introduced into areas that they really shouldn't be, just so that they can shoot them, and pheasants and stuff as well, just so that people can hunt them, and then they end up running rampant and taking over the ecology there, and it ruins
I see how you got there, because I was, like, saying how we, like, take animals from, like, one continent to another, and I was like, how did you get to the shooting? But yeah, the whole ecosystem, how we can mess it up ourselves. Yeah, so all sorts of reasons that we've actually messed it up ourselves. I know, like, sometimes you kind of think, like, why are we searching for all these other planets to, like, live on and stuff like that, where we kind of need to sort out what's happening over here.
For sure, we've got a lot to do on this one before any of that comes around.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends what kind of how much funding and how much focus we put into space travel and searching for alien life, versus how much we should invest that inwards. Because it seems to me very important to, like, for example, defend against like asteroids and things like that. Because but it's difficult to quantify how much to put into that, because it's hard. I can't imagine any government standing on the promise of saying they're going to increase the budget for asteroid defence, you know, when people are
that's never even getting talked about. Exactly. You know, and people would be like, what are you doing? Like, well, there's homeless people and whatnot happening right now.
And again, I'm not entirely sure to what extent that's an actual problem. Like,
I think I've heard somewhere, like, the actual, like, almost percentage of it being able to happen, but I don't want to, like, say, because I can't remember the exact numbers, and I don't want to, like, tell a lie.
But it certainly seems like something we should at least, and it definitely also seems like something we should be collaborating on as a planet, because it can hit from any side, and having
we should collaborate on many things as a planet,
not just that,
which is super hard, unfortunately.
If we stopped fighting each other and start defending against things like that, that'd be good. Yeah. But you know, we've got a lot of things to work out. Not quite there yet in terms of global cooperation, but for sure it's
global cooperation. That's what I'm
for sure
up for. Yeah, but that's a whole other conversation, eh?
Yeah. And again, that kind of comes into the whole: how does the government work? How does democracy work in terms of helping, like, build the sort of planet that people want? Because they tend to be all about short-term focused things. Yeah. So because that's quite a lot. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what can. Democracy seems like definitely the way to go in terms of giving everyone a right to say
make
how
a decision.
the government
say how they feel. Yeah.
Representative to the individual person as far as possible, though, because there's a lot of things like party systems and like the different types of voting systems where a lot of votes don't even count. A lot of those things can undermine what democracy really means, So then, by extension, there's a lot of corruption that can be involved in it, and a lot of people don't get a proper say in what they want, and people vote tactically rather than voting.
There's
how
a lot
they
of that
actually
happening.
want things to change.
That's quite a shame, isn't it?
Like, for example, stopping one person getting in instead of another, and even though they would prefer the policies of one person.
Because see, like, if a lot of people have that sort of idea, and then if a lot of people actually voted maybe the way that they really kind of felt like voting, like, the whole thing would it like turned out like super different as well. So we need to. I don't know how to solve these things though.
I know.
See,
that's another thing as well, like government, how that's all organised. But so it's hard to quantify how much we should focus on space travel and finding alien life when we've got so much to focus on here.
100%.
So when you hear about like the US creating its own space force and all this space travel from NASA as well, and Tesla or rather SpaceX, you know, and like China and Russia creating their own rockets and things, you know, because it's a race to get to Mars and the moon and things like that, but you know.
I know, because I think like they're kind of fighting for the kind of status almost. Who's ever gonna get there first is like, you know, is the first. It's like, you
similar
know,
to
how like they went up on the moon.
To the moon,
I think that's what kind of is. So it's not like, oh yeah, let's find other life. It's like, no, let's prove who's kind of better. I feel like there's a lot of that maybe going on in there.
And I guess it's also about trying to find like resources that we can maybe bring back, or maybe it's a lot to do with just planet hopping to get to the next one, you know, and making.
But then that's the thing. Why are we trying to look for another planet? Like, people know that this one's like going to, like, I don't want to say, going in the wrong direction. Upside down, yeah, sure. So I think people already know that, but rather than spending loads of time and loads of money that we could actually like help and fix this planet has so much potential. We could actually have it like flourishing in all the different directions, but we're not focusing on that. Like you said, we've got like a very short-term focus that is getting us nowhere. It's actually getting us going backwards.
Yeah.
Which is not where we want to be.
Yeah. Which is a lot to do with politics, you know.
Yeah.
But as long as you know, because it's hard to justify like putting out all that rocket fuel into the atmosphere and definitely making this planet worse as a result. Yeah. Just so that we can launch things to space to then use that as a backup planet when we know it's for sure not as livable as the one we're on.
Yeah. Well, I'd heard as well, because a lot of people were kind of saying like, oh, like launching all these rockets up in the air can be good for the atmosphere, but apparently it's not as bad as planes, because the planes are like within the kind of atmosphere kind of circle or radius or whatever, that they're always in that sort of space, but a rocket is only in that sort of space for a few seconds.
Is that
and
like,
then it goes like past, but obviously I don't know.
Do you know if that's one plane versus one rocket? Or?
I don't know. No, but it's just like a wee kind of snippet I heard a while back, which is something I want to kind of look into and see. So don't take that as gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's another thing as well. Like, how do we reduce the amount that we're flying around?
But it's reduced like a huge amount as well.
Yeah, but also at the same time, allowing people to have the freedom to travel and you know, because there's a lot of places that people want to go to and travel and.
This will sound super daft, but obviously with our like technologies and our ideas and things like that, I think maybe we can at some point, because obviously we didn't have planes back in the day. Who would have thought like, oh yeah, you can fly on a plane like all these years ago? But maybe come up with like a solution for flying that is not like maybe it runs off something different, that doesn't have like as bad of an impact as the planes currently do in this day and age. So I think like flying was still going to be like a thing of like our lives, but hopefully we can like move a little bit forward and make the planes a little bit better for the environment. I would hope so.
Yeah. I guess the only way to do that at the moment is to fly them less, but
yeah. Well, there's quite a few people, like
yeah.
including ourselves, that are like reducing the amount of flights that we actually take. For us, recently has been none for a long time, which is quite good for the environment, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But again, as long as these companies are making a lot of profit from flying these planes, then it's
all about the money.
They don't have any incentive to stop doing it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
But yeah,
it's all in the power of people, really. Yeah. All these things, like.
I hear that there's ways of reducing the carbon footprint from flights and things, and it's all good, and it's all progress. It's all good. But yeah, it's trying to find that balance between giving people access to do that much travelling, but at the same time making it sustainable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because it's we're doing a lot of damage to the planet with a lot of different things.
A lot of different things. I know. It's all like a whole chain of different events that like you look into one thing and then you discover like 5 different things, and it starts growing arms and legs, and it's just mental. And that's just one part of something you're looking into, and then you're like, oh, what about all these other things? It's quite like overwhelming when you start like actually educating yourself.
And we don't fully understand the different species on this planet. We don't seem to pay as much attention to that as much as we try and think about like communicating with aliens. Like we could go a long way trying to communicate with the different species on this planet. Just as like a basis for understanding how different life works. Yeah. We could go a long way with the studies with that, for sure. I think we definitely should be searching for other life, because then it could, if we are able to, it depends how the negotiations go with it.
Well, it depends whether it's life that we can communicate with.
So it looks like our battery's dying.
They don't need to know that.
Professional.
Okay guys, so we're gonna leave it here for this episode, and we're gonna try and cover another topic and another one. Oh, and also let us know what is your thoughts on aliens too.
Aliens? No aliens?
Yeah.
Because it's anybody's guess at this point. Unless you're one of those people that have been abducted by aliens, let us know.
So many things to talk about. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching, and I guess we'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah.
Peace.